my name's Christina and I'm a travel specialist for As You Wish Vacations. While I book many vacation destinations, I specialize in the Disney products, and this video series focuses on Disney Cruise Line specifically. So this video should be rather short because a lot of the things we're going to talk about today are so personal. And I definitely want to cover it so I can get you to start thinking about what goes into choosing a cruise. So today's video is going to cover the factors that go into choosing the right cruise for you. Of course, I can't really make recommendations until I talk to you guys. So please comment below, email me, I'll leave my email at the end, and let's really talk about what's right for you and your family, okay? So these are the 4 things that you want to talk about when you choose a cruise. There's no particular order into which you should think about these. It's all about what's important to you. So one of these things will be a little bit more important to you, and that is kind of where we start your cruise. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is when. So if you're a teacher, if you have kids in school you don't want to take out, if you have if you're in another profession that doesn't really have flexible vacation time, then what you're going to need to think about first is when. If you can only cruise in the summer, well, that kind of limits some of the choices for you. Or if you only cruise in the winter. So if you cruise in the winter, you can't do the Mediterranean or Alaska, because those only go in the summer. If you're in the summer and you want to do a Caribbean cruise, but you want to go on the Magic, well, the Magic's not in the Caribbean in the summer. So if you are limited to when you can go, then this is the first determination of what you should decide before you make other decisions. So maybe you can go anytime in July. Great. I will share the options you have in July. Okay? The other thing you want to think about is where. So I mentioned the Mediterranean. So the Mediterranean only does things in the summer. So if it is your dream to go on a Mediterranean cruise, then you know you have to go in the summer. Same thing with Alaska. Alaska is only in the summer. If you want to go to the Norwegian fjords, that's at the beginning and the end of the summer season. There's really only 2 of those. If you want to do a transatlantic, there's really only 1. 1 and 2 because you come back. If you want to do a Panama, there's only 2. So it's really important to know what's important to you. I just said important like a bunch of times, but if it's more important to you to go someplace new, that will then determine when you travel. If you have less of a flexible schedule and you can only decide when, then that's going to determine where. Okay? Another thing you want to think about is how long. So again, if you want to do a 10-day Mediterranean cruise, there's only 1 of those. It's in the summer. That's going to determine when for you. But this is kind of, you determine how long after when and where. So the other 2 kind of depend on what's important to you. The how long comes after those first 2. Maybe you decided you want to go on a 7-day before then, and then now you're deciding when and where. That might have happened, but usually it's those first 2 first, then you decide how long. If you're doing a Caribbean, there are 3 nights, there are 4 nights, there are 5 nights, there are 7 nights, and there are 10 nights. Okay? Obviously, it's more expensive the more nights you go, but the cost per day definitely goes down. So you definitely can weigh that if cost is a huge factor. That might determine when too. So and that's another thing to think about is cost. It is less expensive for you to go in the off season when kids are out of school. It is really cheap to go during hurricane season. So if cost is your biggest factor, then you're going in September. You're going to the Caribbean. It's determining which of the factors are most important to you and then determining your cruise from there. Okay? I'm going to say one more factor is the port. So as an example, I have a client who lives in Texas. So it was important to him to not have to fly to Florida and take a cruise from there. So he wanted to go when they had the Wonder out of Galveston. So he drove to the port, which is about 45 minutes from where he lives, and he went on the Wonder from Galveston. Same thing, I have another client who lives in Arizona and he wanted to take his from San Diego. So if it's important to you where the port is, that will determine when and where, because there's only a handful of cruises going out of San Diego, and they're only going to Baja California. There's only a handful of cruises going out of New York, and you're either going to the Bahamas on a 7-night or you're doing New England. So if where your port is out of, if you have someone who doesn't like to fly and you want to make sure it's a drivable port or whatever it might be, if you are on another cruise line, your port options are a little bit more extensive, but for Disney, there's only 4 ships, so there's not a ton of ports. That will help you determine your trip. So think about what is important to you. I've said it again, important. Think about when, think about where, think about how long, think about your cost, and think about your port. So those are the 5 things to think about. Determine what is the most important to you, and from there I can help you choose a vacation. Okay? I hope that helped. I told you this was going to be a short one. It's so personal, and so I really want you guys to give me a call, email me, Christina@aywvacations.com, contact me on my website, comment below, please, please, please. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your bucket list, and I want to make your bucket list dreams happen. So definitely reach out and let me help you make all your vacations exactly as you wish.